All right, what are we talking about today, guys?
Really? Really?
You know, you have to bring it to a boil. You're making like poop soup.
Is my tea ready? Oh my god!
Shoot. Fucking shoot.
You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
It's time for full disclosure.
What kind of self-aggrandizing bullshit is this?
Give it up for Eric Berry!
Oh man, how the hell are you guys doing? This is a big one. This is a thing happening today. My name is Eric Berry, and this is Full Disclosure. Real fast, follow me at Eric Berry on Twitter, but we're just going to get right to it. I'm pretty nervous about this episode. I've been thinking about doing this for a while, and been putting it off for personal reasons, for potentially professional reasons, and that'll all make more sense once we get into it, but I'm revealing some pretty personal stuff in this episode, and so I had my good buddies in comedy, Matt Lieb and Vince Mancini, come in to kind of help facilitate the conversation. They're good guys, they're funny guys, they're good interviewers, but most importantly, I'm comfortable talking with them, so I wanted them to come in and help get this out. So without further delay, here we go. See, I already fucked it up because I forgot to tell you guys to come to the comedy show tonight at 8 at Milk for free that I'm headlining and talking about everything you're going to hear about in this podcast in a comedic way. And Matt and Vince are going to be there. And that is precisely why I'm nervous, because nothing ever works out the first time quite how you plan. But, all right, let's do this. So, okay, do you guys have, like, things you want to ask me? Like,
Sure, yeah.
I don't mean to, no, I'm just...
Of course.
All right, so I'll just, all right.
So many things. Like, what is your favorite type of burrito?
Yeah.
I don't like, I can't do the plantains. It feels too healthy.
There's
Well, who does plantain?
What?
Like, how,
I don't
how
know.
many
It's like a
burritos
San
have-
Francisco thing. Like, oh, you got to try the plantain burrito.
Where?
Matt.
I don't know. Why do you say Matt?
I don't know. It's kind of like a hipstery thing.
Oh.
I mean, I believe
You
it,
have-
but where is? I don't know where this place is though.
No, just anywhere. They have plantain burritos like at almost every...
I have never seen it.
I've never seen it. I've seen
little
Cactus.
little chihuahua right there.
I
They
see
have one.
that. I
Is this
believe.
all in the hate?
No, that's
yeah, but there's...
Little Chihuahua's Nopa. Is that Nopa? No, I guess it's not Nopa.
You want to call it that?
Oh,
Lower
my
hate
God.
Western. No, what is
What do you call me hipster again by saying that? Fuck you.
No, lower hate.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So
I'm here with two friends of comedy, Mr. Vince Mancini and Mr. Matt Lieb.
what's up?
And I asked them to be on because I respect them, and I think they're funny, and I think I've done podcasts with both of them, and they're good at talking to people. And this is weird, but I guess I'm my own guest on my show today.
Yeah.
And
So this is our show today.
I'm handing the keys over to you guys.
We should have prepared more.
I did not. I did not prepare at all. I figure we'll just let him go. You know, do his thing,
It'll be organic.
Yeah.
and we'll ask follow-up questions.
Okay. But yeah, I wanted to... There's a big part of my life that all my friends know about. My parents actually know about.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Well, you told your
Oh well,
parents?
I don't want to step on it. Go ahead and
Yeah,
reveal it before.
Yeah. But I feel like it's impeded my comedy and even this podcast and not being able to talk about it. So hopefully this won't fuck my life over going on the record about this. But
This is really exciting.
And you've had some bad experiences with comedy fucking your life over recently.
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I got fired. Yeah, for how I look, but I think it was a comedy-related Twitter feed thing.
Oh, really? Is that
Yeah.
why you got fired?
Yeah.
We should talk about
yeah.
that too.
So this was probably a smart idea to do this.
Well, I mean, listen, this is the way I feel about it, and of course we're laboring the point. Belaboring?
Belaboring.
We're
yeah.
belaboring the point, but or maybe we're not even doing that. Anyways, I don't think it's a bad idea because I feel like you need to talk about things that are real, man. In your comedy,
I do.
You got to talk. Like if you were to talk to Mark Maron, he would say that when you're doing comedy, you got to talk about real things. What's real in your life? Who are you? And if you leave out this one major thing, the fact that you are half black. No, what is...
Have you heard Mike Cassine Bentley? It's spot on.
It is so racist. It's great.
You're in the mission, and all of a sudden, a little Mexican pop out with a stab you with some mango slices.
Yeah, that's not him.
All right, so when,
I think it's important that you talk about it.
Okay,
it's not going to fuck up your life.
So-
you live in San
I
Francisco.
think if I was more racist, that impression would be dead on.
So, for a period of probably 3 years through college, I was an escort, which is just a gentleman's term for sucking dick for money. Yeah, not like a streetwalker, but not like pretty woman status either. Like
Craigslist.
Yeah.
Craigslist.
So did Craig
Call
recruit
boy.
you? How did you? I mean, how did you get into it? How did you?
Did you have this idea yourself, or did you
Yes.
meet somebody like
that-
in the
what
movies?
What he said.
No, so another important part to this whole thing is I'm not gay or bi,
Right.
but I was only exclusively with men because women don't have to pay for sex.
Right.
If you may have found, but anyway, I found that out.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And so what happened is I was a freshman. I was 18, and
You looked good.
I was at that point.
You were much thinner.
I didn't drink then, and I was at UC Berkeley. I was a theater major working at the Gap, so if the signs weren't already there.
Yeah, that actually it makes plenty of sense now.
Say no more. But I was, it was one of those like clothed delivery shifts overnight, and I remember I was on the ground, folding like loose fit boot cut jeans, and
You were on the ground like on your knees?
I literally was on my knees because that's how you fold clothes, and I swear to God, the thought went through my head. There's got to be a better way. I was making $8 an hour, and I thought there's got to be a better way to make money.
Can't you see him
on
just
my
in the
knees.
black and white, like folding the jeans like an infomercial? There's gotta be an easier way. And then the next
thought
thing
you were-
is just him gagging on a dick.
I thought you were going to tell me all of a sudden a renegade cock just ran into my mouth.
Didn't see that one coming.
No.
So I started to think about that. And this is gonna sound like an unintentional warning to like any parents who are thinking about sending their kids to Berkeley.
Yeah.
But I was in like the male sexuality course there, where everyone's like, and myself included at the time, I'm like sexuality is nothing but a social construct. Like
Yeah.
I'm fluid, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, so if I'm looking to find someone that whatever, I'm attracted to their personality and what I like why should the most important thing be to me what's a piece of skin between someone's legs?
Yeah.
This is my thinking at the time.
Okay.
And I was a virgin all around. I hadn't had sex with a man or a woman or anything.
Oh, you were a virgin when you started out.
I was, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you tell them that? Because that seems like you could command.
You
a
could
lot
get an
higher
extra
price for
$50
that.
for that.
I'll get there. I'll
Yeah.
get to
Whoa.
it. Yeah. So I went back to the male sexuality class, and I was like, does anybody have any experiences with Craigslist erotic services, which doesn't exist anymore, but you may have heard it in the news over the years, like the FBI made them get rid of it.
It's fucked up.
But yeah, I mean,
Because it's interstate commerce? Like,
I don't
why?
know. I don't know. But it was just basically a place for people to go and post that they were looking for certain sexual acts, and then people would be willing to pay.
Yeah.
So some guy had experience with that and was like, yeah, this is what my friend did. And so I went online, and much like this podcast and everything I do, like I'm like, oh, you got to keep it real. So I made this headline that was 100% true, which was just turned 18-year-old UC Berkeley freshman,
Yep.
former football player,
Yeah.
never been with a guy.
Wow. That's like a dream.
Yeah, I think was your inbox just full for a month?
So that's I thought nothing of it, kind of walked away, and then 5 minutes later hit refresh, and it was 110 emails. Or
Yeah.
Wow.
whatever. It's like, okay.
Did you attach a picture of yourself?
Yeah. I did. I had number 58 football.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man.
In my jersey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I look through these things and I find a couple, a man and a woman. I think I posted in like the man for men and women. Like I wasn't like oriented towards having it be guys, but in practice I found out that's what it would end up being.
Yeah.
So this woman contacts me and she's like, oh, me and my husband would like a nude massage. And I'm like, that seems safer.
Reasonable.
Yeah. That's dipping my toes into the kiddie pool, you know?
Yeah, for
and
sure.
So I end up having to tell my friends, because I don't want to get murdered, that I'm going to go to this couple's place and that like, oh, I might be into both men and women, and like it's not like, which is always like, that's like the like saying that is like the slippery slope into just becoming a gay dude.
Right.
Like, oh, I like Asian women, I like both, and then it's all full on gay.
Right.
But
wait, so what did your friends like? Was this the first you'd ever mentioned it? So
Yeah.
you're like, so listen.
Yes. Yes.
Long story short.
Yes.
I'm about to.
Yeah.
And what was their reaction?
I mean, I don't think they knew how to react. I mean, they were 18 too. I don't think most people are at that age are used to having someone come at them with that.
But what was it?
They were kind of like, okay. So you want
You're
us
like,
to call?
fucking college, dude. Fucking college is so crazy.
College.
We're such adults now.
Yeah, we're free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to go see a movie? It's a school night.
I
but-
couldn't get the sound of them plunging their Easy Mac in their bowl.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. But so
Well, it sounds more like sucking a dick, but go ahead.
So I had to tell them kind of what was up with that, and my whole thing is I was going to go there and I had to call them. I would call them on the hour. If I didn't, they'd wait 5 minutes, and they had my number and the guy's number. They would call me, and if I didn't pick up, they were going to call the police. Like I was
that's good.
super. I mean, you know.
If you had your hand, I mean,
You're busy.
you're massaging. Your hands should
Yeah.
be.
Well, no, I'm saying like
occupied.
it was like a allotted amount of time. Like,
Oh, okay.
I mean, you know.
Uh,
And so anyway, so I go and I had negotiated with the woman that it was going to be $200 an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, I made the right life decision here.
Now, naked massage, is that you're naked or they're naked?
I think that it was both.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got naked
Yeah.
and they got naked.
Yeah. So well, I go and I show up. I take Bart in from Berkeley, and
Like a real prostitute does.
yeah, and he picks me. The guy picks me up, and as we're driving, he's like, "Oh yeah, my wife called. She's with the kids and won't be able to make it tonight." And I'm like, "Fuck this, man!"
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I was like pretending like I had done it. Like I didn't want to be like, this is my first. You know, I wanted to be like, yeah, you know, I give nude massages all the time.
Right.
Like. I took AP nude massage, you know, because I was 18, I couldn't.
Yeah.
But I was so fucking nervous, and I get there, guy takes his clothes off, and like when you're 18, and like I feel like we're kind of at that tipping point in our lives right now. But like there's like boy bodies, and then there's like man bodies,
Yeah.
and this guy had like the
Vince Mancini body.
no, but like.
I'm just trying to give him a compliment. It's my co-host.
No, not the Vince Mancini body. The like.
Oh,
A little
full hair.
a little, yeah, and a
and-
little worn. Like, still could like beat the shit out of someone, but like a little weathered.
Right.
It's got that hair like on the stomach, like right
Right.
around around the belly button.
Right.
A lot of like curly pube hairs. Right.
Right,
there. Yeah.
right. And I'm over. Like, I've never had sex. Fucking period.
What was his age?
He was, I think, he was 35.
All right, so young enough. I mean, young enough to still be kind of attractive.
Yeah, but again, I wasn't.
But there's like,
Yeah.
Are you? I
wasn't.
You're a little bit care about how attractive the man is, right? Because like if he's an
Sure.
old ass shriveled man, you're gonna be like, unless they're
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood or like other hot old men.
Right.
I won't go into it.
So-
Anderson Cooper.
Anderson Cooper, but he's
Yeah.
not old. He's like what in his?
I
Like,
mean, he's a silver fox.
he's definitely a silver fox, but I think the silver.
I mean, he probably went silver when he was like early 30s, but still, he's
Exactly.
still a silver fox.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
counts.
he's
Yeah.
like 50 or something.
Yeah.
50.
Yeah.
God, he's great.
He looks like he's like 42.
He does. Yeah.
Anyway,
Go on.
So
You want to make out?
yeah, I do.
I'm sweating here.
Talk to me about Anderson. Sorry. Oh, by the way, if you have any career repercussions, I don't want any credit for for that. Because people ask me that sort of thing where they're like, should I keep things secret? And I don't have a real job, so it's like I have nothing to contribute. Like for me, I can say whatever I want on Twitter and Facebook, and I don't have to worry about it coming back to me. But like for people for people that still have a regular job where they have to like be respectable, I don't know how you deal with that in comedy at the same time. I'm not sure what the
hard.
I don't know. There's
clearly not navigated it
There's
successfully.
no formula. No one knows.
You got to work at more open-minded startups.
People have like the stage name thing, but that feels shitty to me. Like that's again not who I am.
You have to fake who you are.
I'd rather have a business name and like have that be the fake part,
right?
You know?
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah, it's my day job name.
How many people are really Googling their coworkers? I mean, I understand
everybody now. I hear. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the hiring process.
Well, if
you're
hiring, but once you're already hired, what are you going to keep Googling them and check their Twitter feed to make sure?
My last company, that was part of my they're like, the comedy guy. Like, we got to come see your comedy, and I'm like, no, you shouldn't. You know,
actually.
And you think that's why you got fired?
Yeah. All right, I do.
All right, so let's.
So
you're in the.
So
he's got a man body.
Man body. It just ends up.
He's kind of attractive.
Do you bring anything with you? Like, do you bring massage oil? Do you have like a messenger bag?
I had no idea what that's a great question. I had no fucking clue what I was doing. So like he brought out like lotion and shit, like put on music, and then he's talking about how him and his wife. I don't remember if he was wearing a ring or not, but like him and his wife used to have like another couple, and they would like that was their same.
Did you ever talk to the wife on the phone or just by email?
No, just by email.
So
she probably didn't exist.
Probably didn't exist.
Okay.
Yeah. Like we're in Cameroon or something, just like fucking each other, both couples, and like this is like a thing he does on the regular. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay,
in Cameroon.
I don't know. I made up the place, but like
okay,
someplace, you know. And anyway, like as like. He did give me one useful piece of information, which has stuck with me this day, which is when you give a massage, you're not supposed to like let up. Like you just keep contact.
Constant pressure.
Yeah, constant pressure. Yeah, pro tip. And but then there did get to a point where it's like he's on his back and then he's like kind of fondling. And I had made like pretty explicit, like this is just a nude massage, you know, and like wanted me to kiss him and stuff. And I'm like, nope, it's like I can't. Like and he's like, oh, is that one of your professional rules?
It's
like,
against the pretty woman rules.
Like, well, yeah. But I had kind of established that. Uh-huh. And anyway, like nothing, I don't know if he jerked himself off. I honestly don't remember. But like I didn't engage him in that way. But then when it came time to pay and we had agreed to this $200 an hour, I was there 2 hours. He pulled $100 bill out of his wallet. And I was like, yeah, what the, like, yeah, your fucking wife. And I was like, yeah, we talked, it was $200. And I was like, oh yeah, she didn't tell me that. Like, all I have is this $100. And I was like feeling pretty shitty about that. And he's like, hold on, I think I can get something. 100% true. He runs to his bedroom. He comes back, and I shit you not, he brought out 3 actual $5 coupons to In-N-Out.
Wow.
And gave me.
Oh, wow.
And gave me.
So he technically gave you $115.
$15 in In-N-Out coupons. And to this day, even though that didn't go down that night, my friends reference sucking dick for In-N-Out.
Hey, if you're going to suck dick for a burger,
but now,
that's the way to
this
go.
first experience sounds non-sexual, though. You didn't.
Well, I was naked in front of a guy that was trying to jerk off and kiss me while I.
But
I mean,
you did not suck his dick, and he did not suck your dick.
No.
Did he touch you at all?
I don't remember. Where did he touch me?
Yeah, where?
I don't know.
You don't remember him touching you?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
There might have been caressing or something, but I don't.
Okay.
But that was the stepping stone into what ended up being, progressing more and more.
Yeah.
Into.
So, I mean.
So wait, you got $100 and 3 In-N-Out tickets, and you're like, I got to do this again.
Well, it just like any
beats $8 an hour though.
Yeah, I mean,
it's true.
You don't make money at your first open mic either. Like you figure out, you get better as you go along. You learn how to work the system. You build up a fan base.
Yeah, so you decided that you wanted to be better at your job instead of quitting.
This was all. I mean, I was 18. I was a freshman. I was taking these classes. This coincided with the first guy I actually did kiss. So I've hooked up with dudes personally too during. And that all kind of coincided with this period. The first guy's name was Eric as well, and I told my mom about that and my sister.
So wait, you said you hooked up personally, as in
I hooked up in a non. Yeah.
Now, why did you do that?
Because I was I'm very much the kind of guy, like I hate flights. I'm a afraid of heights and flights and all that shit. But I've
interested to see where this goes.
Yeah, I was like, okay, all right.
But I've gone skydiving. Like
okay.
I like to engage. I'm like, oh, I guess I didn't like that after all. You know, like
yeah. So you wanted just to test yourself.
Yeah, and I'm
you're experimenting.
Yeah,
you're like, what if I like it? But was this before or after you?
This was after the Craigslist thing. And once you've done that, you're kind of like, well, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
You know, like,
yeah.
So this guy makes out with me. I tell my mom, she's actually incredibly cool about it. And I come from a hardcore Christian background. My sister breaks down crying.
Yeah.
I think all's good on the home front apart, you know, with my mom. And then a month later, if I didn't get fucking mono from that guy, and my mom's like, this is what happens when men get together. They spread diseases and like just unleash the full torrent of like the Christian thing.
Mono, the gay cancer.
But yeah.
Starter AIDS.
So, you know, as that like, again, these things kind of coincided, and then I lost my virginity with the one. I'd never had intercourse with a guy. I've had intercourse with a guy one time.
Okay. But you lost your virginity to a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this was not you didn't.
No, I've never. A woman has never paid me for sex.
Have you ever paid for sex?
One time I went to the Sunflower Spa in the fucking Tenderloin, drunk as fuck, and then I commiserate with her. I'm like, look, I've done it too. I've been there. Like,
I know what it's like.
This is like, let's get dinner sometime.
You're like, I know what it's like. And she's like, I came here on a boat from China.
No,
you do not know what this is like.
So what they do is they line out all the Asian ones, and I'm really not into Asian women. And I'm like, do you have it? And they don't speak English. And I'm like, do you have any? I'm like, oh, he want white. And they bring out like the one token blonde chick that they have.
All of your accents are
Was
really
she cute?
Yeah, she was.
And they just had her in the back, like
like you'd think that would be who
just
they
like
would bring
filing
out.
her nails back there. What was she doing?
She's probably answering phones and shit.
I don't know, but
she was the administrative
She was like
assistant.
the one white girl that they had, and she was pretty cute. But
I don't have anything against the Asian girls. I feel like hot is hot is hot. I don't really have like a preference for one over the other.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a weird colonialist sort of conquering status symbol thing where you're like, I need an Asian chick.
When it comes to prostitutes, you're saying?
No, just in general. Like in general. Or maybe it's just like tech guys where they're like, I don't know. There's a weird.
It's an anime thing. It's like I want a submissive, and
there is
that's what it is.
And
it's just sort of. I don't want to like get into objectification, etc. But it's like it is sort of taking the person out of the person to like break them into like a little category that you want to have.
It's funny that it's a fetish because it's like there's anal, there's feet, there's like stuff like beads in the butt, there's Asian. It's like Asian is more. That's more of like a race than
there is like I don't know any like alpha males that have an Asian fetish though. Like I feel like it's I feel like by comparison it's like a more subservient. It's easier to get in on that. I don't know.
Interesting.
But I don't know. It's just not my thing.
All right. So
yeah, that's the one time I paid, and then I threw up in the cab right outside.
Because you were drunk or because you were so filled with guilt?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
They it's like $350 and they swipe your credit card, but at first they tell you it's $50 for the massage, and then in the room she's like, oh, and if you want. And I left like without them re-swiping, and I thought I got away with the deal. But, like they already have, and then I left the next morning. Yeah. I'm like,
so wait, what is?
So wait, you get a full. Sorry. Go ahead.
What'd you do with her?
I had sex with her.
You had sex with her.
Yeah.
Did you wear a condom?
And what's this place called?
I think so. Sorry. You can
just taking notes.
You can look it up on Yelp. The Sunflower Spa. Yeah. The cab driver knew exactly where. I'm like, is there a place where you can like anything goes? Because I gotten kicked out of a strip club. He's like, oh yeah, I'll take you right there.
Because see, I thought they closed all that stuff down a few years ago, but apparently
no. Well, they're always trying to.
Green Door massage parlor right there.
The problem with all these San Francisco massage parlors is most of these are not like like college students who decide I want to get into prostitution.
Right.
There's a huge difference, and that difference is they are sex slaves from other countries who may not speak English or speak enough English.
If you are a sex slave, blink twice with your right eye, and I'll stop.
And I will stop giving you money. So I feel like that's that's more morally objectionable. But I think I'd go to Vegas. I mean, I want to at some point have sex with a hooker, but I know I never will because I just won't.
Well, that was the weird thing about Craigslist is it actually, like in my experience, and I knew other people that did it, it oddly lent itself to being like your own enterprise.
It's a more straightforward business transaction.
I take that back. I never want to have sex with a hooker. I just I thought about what I said, and then I decided, no, that's not true. I just wanted to say it.
I know
you're a bad person for being a hooker.
I know that it's different, but the argument is there that like there's this concept of wooing women and sugar daddies and impressing on the first date and buying shit. And I mean, in a way, it's this sex is this weird currency exchange between men and women. And
sure.
The only reason that I don't is that a big part of the sex thing is like it's being able to trick a girl into doing something absolutely. That she probably doesn't want to do. Yeah. Like for me, like that's a big part of sex is knowing that she
doesn't want to be doing what she's doing.
Not that she doesn't want to, but it's that you used you didn't just pay for it. You you used whatever. Yeah, you used your guile and your smarts and all the tricks up your sleeve to talk your way. Yeah, exactly. You just razor kicked her, and no, but you got a woman to allow you to inside of her.
It really is using cheat codes
for free, basically.
Yeah. Right. Well, it's not for free. I mean, usually there's some sort of dinner involved, right?
Yeah, I mean, just the idea that the fact that a woman with free will,
right.
I convinced her to let me get all up in them guts.
Yeah,
that's a big part of it.
Let me fuck your stomach.
That's a big part of it for me. Just the subtle ego boost.
No. That's that. I think that's true of most people.
And that does. I mean, if you're a guy and you're like, oh, I had to pay for sex. I mean, it does kind of detract.
I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just
no, but you don't feel good about it.
Yeah, it's not like you can put it as a notch on your bedpost.
I don't think I would feel bad about it. I just think it cuts out a lot of the fun of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to the fact that you were a prostitute. So after this first experience, what happened? You decided.
So I mean, and this wasn't like a daily thing.
When was the first time that you decided? You know what? I'm gonna suck a cock, or I'm gonna have my cock. I imagine that you, as many times as you blew someone, you are having people blow you, because I know that's a thing.
That is a really interesting thing. So you would think that the guy that wants to bottom is the guy who's really taking it, or sucking a dick or whatever.
Yeah.
But oddly in the gay community,
it's one or the other. I know that for sure.
But the majority of gay guys are bottoms and like to be subservient
and like to suck AP.
Yeah.
No, I know. That's so I'm saying you probably got a lot of male blowjobs.
I mean, I got for $100 for 15 minutes or whatever in my dorms at Berkeley where Kate lived. Yeah. So she had a beef with this. But over Christmas break in my dorm, I had some clients over, and no one else was there, during Christmas.
Except for Kate Willett?
No, she just found out about it. But
it's an odd talk with your IRA.
Well, it was just in the co-op, so there was no IRA. But I'd be.
What did the proctor say?
I'd be on my bed, and he'd just pay me $100 to jerk off. So 15 minutes in out the door, $100.
Wow.
And dudes, now
I do that.
I think I would do that too.
Where it got weird with shit like that, where it's like, oh, hold on, let me take off my wedding ring. That's where fucking college baseball coaches, a lot of fucking closeted dudes.
You're talking about Berkeley college baseball.
Not
coaches.
Berkeley, but
Berkeley.
No, not
Berkeley. Okay.
No, right. Community college.
Schmusy Schmerkley.
No. Community college, Peninsula Community College. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But
all right. So when did it go from just sort of passive to
it once I started in my personal so the first duck I sicked.
Yeah.
Quack quack. Get him. But
Affleck
was
dick sack. Go ahead.
All right. I actually quit college my second semester freshman year and moved back in with my mom.
And where are you from?
the Bay, like the peninsula, but at this point this was San Mateo.
Okay.
And a friend of mine had come over and we had ended up hooking up, and I went down on him with a condom on.
So this is a personal. This wasn't.
Yes, yeah. So this happened sporadically in between.
See, this is where I find it interesting that you say that you're not bisexual. Is that I understand falling out of the plane once and going, I don't like it, but like the multiple times of falling out of a plane, be like, okay, maybe if I suck the plane's dick, I'll like it.
So this is what we were talking about.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, you make a great steak once, no one thinks you're an amazing chef. You suck a dick once, everyone assumes you're gay.
Right.
Now, to be fair, I've cooked hundreds of great steaks.
Right.
You know? Like, I'm pretty good at cooking steak. But
I figured the difference there is that is the paying. If people are paying you to suck a dick, then that's one thing. But why?
I think I mean, I don't want to sound cliche and like, oh, I was confused. Like, I hate that bullshit. But it was more like, hey, I'm down to try this.
Right.
And the funny thing is, anytime I was with, because I didn't have any experience with, like, I had just as much experience with men as I did with women.
Okay.
A little bit more in high school, but never sex. And
Sure.
The whole time I was ever with a guy, and this took me a while to kind of click together, but I was always fantasizing about a girl. So think of like the opposite of like a closeted straight guy.
Right, yeah.
Where like I'm with this guy.
You're living in this bizarro world.
I know.
Where you're
and
like, oh, but I have to adhere to homosexuality because that's the norm.
And I wrote a play about that, and it's all reversed. And I had those thoughts where it was like I would think of girls that lived in my co-op, like while I was with these guys and stuff.
Which girls?
I don't know if Kate was part of them, but but I mean, I'm sure she's very pretty. But
I'm sure.
Don't worry, Kate. I was totally thinking about you. Yeah, but it was through this evolution of like the professional coinciding with the personal. And then it started to be like anything went, except I'd never wanted to have intercourse. Like that was always a thing I didn't want to do. And the only time I've had sex with the guy was
a personal.
No, it was the only time I ever contacted a client back. So people liked me and they would contact me back.
Okay.
This is the only guy I was like, hey, what are you up to? Are you free?
Yeah.
And he lived in Noe Valley, and he like wined and dined me, like made this really awesome dinner.
That's
like
awesome.
Had this like jacuzzi, like heated tile floor thing.
You're making it sound really attractive.
And he wanted to fuck, or me to fuck him. And I did, and not that good. Like, I'm like, I'm not, this is kind of gross.
But no, I mean, no.
What did you think was going to happen?
I mean, I don't know. It's just,
Ooh, it's in your butt now.
No, I'm like, you know, people. Well, there's clearly.
What are you doing?
This is gross. Ew.
There's clearly a large contingent of people that really enjoy this thing.
Yeah, right.
And
sure.
I was. So
you were the top.
I would think that if you could talk someone into it, by the time it's actually happening, that would be the good part.
Right.
But,
right.
No, it was more like I was nervous, but also just didn't. No, I don't know. I didn't know what I was supposed to get out of it.
Could you get hard?
Yeah, I could.
So you could get fully erect with someone with a man.
A breeze can go by, and
that's true.
Like,
that is true.
And mainly like I'd be thinking about other women.
About women, okay.
And so,
mainly.
but this guy, and then he paid me fucking $1,200, and I'm like, fuck a guy in the ass, gets a nice like fucking dinner and wine, and get $1,200.
Yeah.
Like, sure.
Fuck a guy in the ass. He'll feed you for one night.
Teach a man to be fucked in the ass.
Teach a man to be fucked in the ass. I don't know. I don't know the rest.
Yeah.
Jesus said that.
But what ended up happening eventually is I met a guy who's like one of the early programmers at Facebook, and I didn't know he was gay, and he was passable, and I've largely been passable, and we ended up making out one night, and then I was like, well, he's attractive, he's smart, he's funny, like all those check boxes. Like, I'm gonna try to date a guy.
Oh, okay.
And this went on for like 3 weeks, and he was always doing stuff to like always going down on me, always more into me. And I was like, I remember there was a really specific time I went down on him, I think once or twice maybe, and I literally had this thought in my head. I'm like, I don't like dick very much.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not really, like, I just want some titties to fuck.
Yeah.
And it was like Memorial Day weekend, like 5 years ago or something, and I took him out to breakfast, and I was like, I don't know how to tell you this, but
I'm super straight.
I'm straight.
Yeah.
And he like swore me off forever, like unfriended me.
Oh, really?
on
Get mad
Facebook.
about?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. He's like, I knew.
I guess that makes sense.
Well, to be fair, the whole time I was dating him for those 3 weeks, like I was talking about my ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, I think that's got to be part of the fantasy, is like wanting like the straight acting sort of guy.
Right. And then when they're actually straight, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
well.
And that was the moment
Just
where
the same way I want a hipster chick, but usually they're all, lesbians. But I want them to look like a lesbian,
Right.
but not actually be one.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the last time I did the Craigslist thing, I was on the way to date that ex-girlfriend as the pussy faggot girlfriend. And what? The girl who congratulated me after the gay cake that my friends gave me. My comedy set.
And it says pussy faggot.
No, it says congratulations on coming out, happy coming out. And then I started to be paranoid that she thought I was gay the whole relationship and eating her pussy as a faggot would.
Oh, yes.
So,
yes.
Anyway, this girl, the date I went on a date with her, I emailed like a client who wanted to meet up. And I said, I don't think I can do this anymore. I don't feel comfortable because I think I'm gonna fall in love, and I did. And then I hadn't done it since. That guy I dated happened after, but after that I was like, I'm not. Like I can eat vanilla ice cream, but I'm really not into it. I always want chocolate. But you give me $1,200 and put it in front of me, like
Yeah, you'll eat that vanilla ice cream.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're not talking about flavors of ice cream.
Fair point.
That's more like races. That's what it sounds like.
But how do you? Why do you think that certain people are fluid like that? Like, you know what I mean?
I don't know. I think there's both. I think there's definitely a genetic factor. There's definitely a societal one, and both are going to be so ingrained that we're never going to know. Like, you can't have people exist in a vacuum.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
You can't. We're never fully going to know.
It's because there's no air in a vacuum.
My
Sure, you can't grow people there.
like,
you would explode.
but I mean, it's really interesting when you look at like gay
Total
twins
Recall.
and things like that.
Yeah.
And ones that are and ones that aren't and things. But I don't know, and I don't like. I don't know. I feel like it's hard for people to swallow that I'm
It's not
not
so much swallowing it; it's just like trying to understand it. Because I had a guy that I went to college with who, like, we all knew that he was a straight, like he was doing porn. Actually, like when we first met him, we all like would make jokes like, "Oh, he looks like a porn star," and that was like a running joke. And then like towards the end of school, or maybe like our 5th year or something like that, we found out that he was in porn. So we're like, oh, it's just because he looks so much like a porn star, he started doing porn. And
Wait, which it's a chicken egg situation. Which one came
all right,
first?
well, so then we found out after we found, like, he knew that we all knew that he was doing straight porn, and then at a certain point, like 2 years after that, someone just Googled his porn name and found out that he'd been doing like straight and gay porn like since the first time we met him. So he looked like a porn star because he was a porn star.
Okay.
And I was curious, like, because we never knew anything. But then as soon as I brought up, because he didn't know that we knew that he had been doing gay porn, and I think I was like the first person to bring it up. And then I haven't talked to him since. So I don't know if he was like embarrassed about it, or it was just through email. So it wasn't like he it wasn't like he just like threw a drink in my face and left the bar. But I was just curious, like, I'm curious if it's just for the money or just like where the fluidity comes from, where you can just like be like, oh yeah, whatever.
I don't know if I can specifically say where the fluidity comes from. I know, like, for instance, I was either going to go to Berkeley or Santa Barbara, and had I gone to like, I rushed like a frat my first week. I'm like gay me now, like hippie gayish me, and I would totally have tipped the other way, like douchey frat version of me, and it's like that line I straddle. So I think there's part of it of being in the environment, being in that, like, had I not been in that male sexuality class, I wouldn't even know what the fuck fluidity was.
Yeah.
Like, none of this happened in high school. And, like, I think most people, I don't think there's something that happens when you're 18 versus 17 in your sexuality where you're like, oh, I'm this thing now. Like, I think you've started to form that stuff much earlier.
Oh, yeah.
But I was never attracted to men or anything. I mean, like, I was attracted to girls. They scared the shit out of me because I was intimidated by them.
But what was it about having this experience that you felt you needed to conquer this experience?
I don't know if I neaded to. I just felt like I was like, oh yeah,
You're obviously compelled enough to really give it a shot.
But they really logicked their way through it, and then like I adhered to that, where it's like it's just a piece of skin. Like, why should it matter? Like, one of the defining moments for this was we watched. We had to like study porn for this class, and I remember being in class, and there was this tranny, and what basically it's like scanning down, and this guy next to me is like, oh fuck, bro, like fucking hot ass shit, and she was.
Yeah.
And then you see, and like, oh,
penis.
what?
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, no, I'm confused. Right. No, and but that was that thing where I'm like, I found that fascinating that one little thing.
That's what changes
could
it all.
Change everything.
I feel the same way.
You know?
I feel the same way.
And that was where I'm like, well, this doesn't, at that time to me, I'm like, that doesn't make sense. So like, I'm gonna challenge myself on that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's actually a really great and interesting point. But I think the big difference is, like for me, I understand seeing a beautiful woman. Mm-hmm. And then finding out, this woman, I've talked about this before in my act and like with other people about like if Jessica Alba wants to make out with you, make out with Jessica Alba, you suck on her titties, you go down, she has a penis. Do you go, oh, wait a second, that's gay, or do you learn how to suck a dick really well?
Right.
And I understand. So there's like
it's a good bit, bro. I like
yeah,
that.
thanks, man. It's a little bit more racy when I do it.
Yeah.
But, and I feel like the difference there is initial attractiveness. Like if you are initially attracted to somebody and you're like, you know what, whatever's going on down there, I can handle it. If I have to suck Jessica Alba's dick and have her come on my face, that's what's going to have to happen. There's a lot of sexual acts that people do. I necessarily, I mean, I do not want to eat a butthole, but I will eat a butthole if someone wants that I love or am attracted to wants their butthole eaten. So it's like that like there's levels of that, but it's what confuses me or confounds me is the fact that you knew you were not initially attracted to these men, or were you a little bit attracted and like, hey, maybe I'll be sexually attracted? Because there's a difference between just finding someone attractive, being able to say, Vince Mancini, you are an attractive person, Eric Bear, you are an attractive person, and me wanting to go down on you, which is like, that's
sure,
yeah.
So like, so the sex was always the least attractive part to me. Like, right. I don't like semen. I'm like, get it away. That's how I swat it.
Yeah, you swat semen as it's shooting towards you.
But no, like
you do a two-handed wave sort of thing as it's coming at you.
No, dog paddling through it. But but no, I mean that's the part that I was always like, ugh, like I don't want that. Uh-huh. And yeah, I'm not into like that moment with the dude, or I'm like, I don't like dick. Yeah.
So you're not sexually attracted to men.
No, like
you were just
anytime like if the most attractive thing to me, I have a lot of gay friends and a lot of female friends. If we go out and we go to the Castro and I'm like drunk or whatever, like I definitely get an ego stroke out of guys coming.
Oh, sure.
Me
so do I. Yeah. But I don't think you have to. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying like that.
You like to take that
part
to the
I could
next
get
level.
by like flirting with the guy and being coy.
I will say it's like I when you go out and we're around a lot of gay men, like you finally sort of understand what it must be like for girls.
Oh yeah.
Where you're just like I get super awkward because I'm like, I feel really weird about leading people on.
Right.
Like there's the initial ego stroke.
All of a sudden you slip in, oh, my girlfriend.
Yeah, but then you feel really bad about it. And then like sometimes like my girlfriend's best friend's a gay man, and we go, yeah, he's a gay. And so like we've gone out to gay bars before, and it's like, it's funny because I feel really awkward about leading guys on, but then one of her other friends that's also friends with another part of their group is just like the biggest hoary flirt, where he's like a straight guy that will just has no qualms about just taking these gay dudes for free drinks. And I'm like, I don't know, it feels weird to me. I don't know if it's just because like I'm empathizing too much, or I don't know what it is.
There's definitely, I mean,
it's not that it's like creeping me out. I just feel like I feel shitty.
It's just maybe it's just justice for the other person. Maybe
there's
you feel
an attention whore element
wronged
to it. Like there is definitely that.
I do like the attention. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But
then you feel icky. You're like, oh, is he just talking to me because he wants to suck my dick?
Yeah.
How dare you?
I mean, so it was one of those things where I was like, I'm in a class that's saying that I might, be open to this. I'm with a bunch of people that are like, yeah, it doesn't exist. It's just fluid. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I can understand kind of the logical aspects to it. And then you put money on the table, and I'm like, well, let's try this.
Yeah.
And then it was that thing. Like once that had happened, I'm like, what's the,
Were you making decent money? I mean, was it like a nice part-time income?
It was a nice part-time thing. I was, my dad wasn't contributing anything to college. It's all your fault, dude. No, and my mom's like poor shit. And so I opened up like an IRA when I was 19. Like, yeah,
I still don't have one.
And then, but that dried up pretty quickly as I distanced myself from it.
You spent your IRA? You spent your IRA?
Yeah, I got when after I graduated, I was unemployed. I had to dip into that, but yeah, and I mean,
You're not supposed to do that, bro.
I know.
That's why it's for retirement. That's what the R stands for.
So
I think
there were definitely like
90%.
I thought it was the guy who invented it. It was like Ira.
Yeah,
Ira
Glass.
Nussbaum or something.
it was Ira Glass. Put your money in me.
So one thing that's been really interesting is like almost all my friends are females, and almost all of them are females that I've hooked up with. Like both my, well, whatever, maybe I shouldn't, but yeah, people that are close in my proximity are girls that I used to date, and I've always been more like especially like as I've gone through college and stuff, like I've always been more comfortable around girls, and I have this weird paranoia, like I don't want guys to think that I'm gay. Like I'm really fucking self-conscious about it. Like
why?
Because I don't want them to think that I'm secretly like thinking about gobbling their cocks in my mouth or something, you know.
But what does it matter if
it shouldn't? But I think it's just a weird thing. Like I like hugging guys. I get weird about. Like I'm the most homophobic guy that's ever had a dick in his mouth. You know? Like I'm like no, like I'm like no. I mean, like when I go out to like the marina or places that are, I mean, like I definitely like bring it down a little bit and chest puff out.
Oh my god, for real! I want to see that. I want to see that, Eric Perry.
I'm just like, because I don't actually care if I like have like a crook in my hand and shit normally, but for some reason, like I don't want that perception.
But it's not straight men thinking that. It's you don't want gay men.
No, I don't want straight guys thinking that.
Oh, okay.
Gay guys, I don't give a shit because I know I'm not going to do anything with them.
Oh,
like
okay.
I hold all the power in that scenario.
All right, right.
Whereas like I hardly have any male friends, and I think perhaps a reason for that is that I'm
heterophobic. Yeah.
No, I don't know, but I definitely think that my experiences with men have helped inform and enrich my experiences with women. Like, completely understand why females fake orgasm now.
Oh yeah.
Well, when you have a fucking sweaty dude pounding on top of you, and I remember the specific moment, guy's name, I don't care, he's dead probably, is
Jesus.
Well, he was like 75. It was nasty. His name was Gary Gross, and for real, and fucking
gross,
and fucking was on top of me, just heaving like dry. This is like dry humping, but like
you just give his first and last name. I just realized.
I don't. He's probably dead. But
he doesn't know how to use the internet.
But heaving, and I was like, I just wanted this to be over with. And in my head, I actually thought, I'm like, I'm gonna try something, and I was like, oh fuck yeah, oh fuck, and if not 3 seconds later, he's like, and I'm just like, wow. And I remember smiling, looking up this thing. I'm like, that's why they fucking do it. They just want that fucking shit over with.
Yeah.
Completely makes sense.
Yeah. The problem is that it's just so obvious, isn't it? Have you ever had a girl fake orgasm?
I've never had a girlfriend.
Well,
but yeah, I mean, that's just one of those things where I can talk to a girl about that.
I don't last long enough for them to need to fake an orgasm.
Yeah.
So
I just go too long.
I don't know.
Take them for the ride.
It's definitely a weird. I don't know, and every girl I've dated, I've told about it, like on any serious level, and they've all been pretty cool with it.
Yeah. You're talking about the prostitute thing.
Yeah.
See, I understand.
So, what point did you stop? And it was because you were dating a girl?
I stopped. I was about to go on the date with this girl, and I was just like, I don't want this. Like, I think this girl seems really cool. We met through MySpace. I was like, I don't want this to be. We did. I don't want this to be a thing I have to bring up as a current thing, because I actually dated girls while I was doing it, and they knew about it too.
Yeah.
Pretty open-minded women. I mean,
the same type of women that were in my class that were like, yeah, suck a dick professionally. Like, that sounds like a good idea.
Berkeley.
Like, that's, yeah.
Yeah. But you're worried now about it because the whole world is not UC Berkeley.
Right. And I'm more worried about it in a professional sense.
Now, do you mean a professional sense in terms of trying to get a job or like a comedian?
I mean a corporate sense. I do think, speaking in terms of comedy, I think that there's people buy into persona. I mean,
right.
I think of Rich Dreiling as the army guy, and I think of Natasha as the tranny comic. Like, people being a straight white male comic is the easiest slate you can work with, Right. Because you get to determine what you are. If I feel
like it's the hardest slate to work with because of that.
Yeah.
No, I think at our level maybe, like, I gotta book a female, but I think once you
have to differentiate yourself though.
true.
And once, so you
don't have a ready-made shtick.
Right.
You could,
but your
it's-
shtick ideally is hopefully just being funny, not putting puppets on your hand and being an asshole.
but
like,
but if you're,
There's nothing wrong with putting puppets in your hand if you want to do.
you know, if you're a butchy lesbian chick, I mean, that's a ready-made shtick right there.
but there's only so much room for those butchy lesbian chicks.
True, but it's the thing. It's all right. So it's like when you go out and as an immature person, you're like, oh, I need to find this girl who's going to respect me as like this unique little flower. And what you don't realize is the way the human mind works is if you get people to recognize you as a type, like they feel comfortable with you sooner. So, and that's the same. It's the same psychology behind comedy. It's like if you give them a ready-made shtick or something that they're comfortable with, they feel closer to you. They feel more comfortable with you. It doesn't last, but it like as a short-term thing, it's very effective in the short term.
They can relate to you immediately. They know where you're coming from.
Oh, you're like my friend Rich.
Yeah.
I agree with.
Oh,
that.
you're my black friend.
I agree with that, but I think that's what's so hard about my particular situation here, which is like,
relating.
No, seriously, I'm not gay.
Yeah.
I'm not bi.
Yeah.
Well, because it's more complicated. That's not a ready-made shtick.
right.
That's a complicated
a lot of
shtick.
explaining.
That's not it's just complicated.
So that's what I was just going to get at in terms of it from a comedy persona perspective is like, I don't want the audience to have to figure me out more than what I'm telling.
Well, you have to give them like a reductive way to understand it. Like it took me a long ass time to fucking figure that out too. And I'm just like, I feel like I'm fairly average, but that's the problem. Is trying to explain that to people. So it's like
your explanation was that you're caught in between. You're not quite meathead. You're not quite.
My new pet phrase is that I'm the broiest dude that you know that doesn't play fantasy football. Which is, I feel like I should get an award for that.
Yeah. And it's
like I'd have to search deep into my cell phone contacts to find like friends that aren't comedians that don't play fantasy football.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like it's the same thing. It's like you're in between things and you have to figure out some way to explain that to people so it doesn't.
Can you explain this in a sentence? Just try right now.
Yeah. I mean, what I did physically wasn't inherently tied to my personal preference for sexuality.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Use that.
You should use that.
No, I mean, it's kind of like the cooking steaks thing, but again, I've cooked lots of steaks. You know?
Yeah, that's great.
But the most frustrating thing, and I do talk about this already in my stuff, is when people think that I'm gay and they like won't let me own my sexuality.
Why do you think it? Okay.
Girls that don't even know about that shit, and people that don't know anything about that, and like I don't think I'm I'm not super broy, but I'm not super femmy either.
Why would you? I don't know why you would take I mean, if you've sucked a penis, I don't see why you would be offended by someone thinking you're gay.
But if
because it puts you in a box that you're not comfortable being in, because you're like, it's my sexuality is fluid, and you're putting me in this corner as being this person.
I would not tell. Like, I honestly don't.
I mean, I understand.
Deem myself to be sexual. Like fluids, like could go at any minute. You know. So it was like.
But you're uncomfortable with any kind of sexual label, or you're saying I am straight?
I'm saying I'm straight.
Okay.
And like that's what like I'm gonna marry a woman. Like there's not gonna be like.
See, I think
why
that's.
Are you driving up to the park on the weekend? Like that's not gonna.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the most frustrating things, and it happened a month ago. It happens all the time. Is a girl that's just getting to know me, like we're friendly and friends, whatever. We've even like had sex, but we're not like close friends. They'll be like, "Oh, like I thought you were gay," and I'm like, "No, I'm not." They're like, "No, really? Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm positive." They don't know any of this fucking past stuff. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm positive." And then this happened. Like my best friend was in the room and she left, and then this other girl was there and she's like, "No, like it's okay. You can tell me." Like fuck you. This girl that I've met 3 times.
You mean
like,
it's offensive that they're not just taking what you say? They're not believing what you say. They're like calling you a liar.
Yes,
basically.
and the notion that they're so used to this shitty like fag hag thing where it's like, oh, you get 3 times like, oh, finally someone in San Francisco I'm comfortable telling that I'm gay. Like you don't think that there've been other people in my life, you fucking dumb shit. Like,
right.
It's that's what's offensive to me. Like, I'm such an open, honest guy. Like my friends were saying, it's like,
but then it complicates it further, where you're like, okay, well, I have had sex with a dude.
I didn't say I haven't sucked a dick before. I just said I'm not gay.
But so I get that. But
maybe it would be a shorter conversation if you were like if you're all right, so maybe you're picking up a gay thing because I've had sex with a dude before. But here's the deal.
Maybe you're smelling my breath.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe if you came at them with the full complexity of your situation, that it might be easier for them to understand.
Yeah.
Maybe, but until something like what we're doing right now, that's not necessarily what you want to lead with.
Oh, certainly not lead with, but after 3 dates.
I mean, maybe.
On a third date, I always tell people.
No, it's not even a girl that I'm dating. Like, it's a girl that at this point, like, we've either already had sex like the first night, or we're like dating, or whatever. We're like friends or whatever. Like,
okay.
It's not a girl. If I was a girl I was seriously interested in who was denying me that, like, I wouldn't be seriously interested in her.
Right.
But yeah.
Wait a second. So you're saying this is like girls who you've already had sex with? They're like, oh, I thought you were gay, and they've already had sex with you.
Some of them will say like before we had sex or whatever.
Okay.
Or like ones that I haven't had sex with. This happened with this girl that I was talking about, and then she was in my room, and she's like, I just straight up was like, do you want to make out? And she's like, but you're gay. I'm like, yeah, I know I'm gay. You ever been fucked by a gay guy? Like,
yeah.
Oh man,
can you just Trojan penis it in there and be like, oh yeah, no, you'll totally be my fag hag.
Trojan penis.
I actually told a girl once, and she was a lesbian, and she'd never hooked up with a guy, and she was doing the same thing. This is back in college. She's like, you're gay. I'm like, no. And she's like, well, have you been with a man? I'm like, yes. She's like, when was the last time you dated a girl? And it was like 3.5 years ago in high school. She's like, you're gay. And at this point, we're like, and I'm like, yeah. But I'd already like totally been with women and stuff.
Right.
And as I'm like doing shit with her, she's like, dude, I knew gay guys were great at this. I was playing. She's gonna go and tell all of her friends like, gay guys are the best at fucking women. Like, they know exactly where everything is.
You definitely got a complicated situation because it's a lot to explain. And because if you look at the evidence on paper, you are definitely gay. But like,
wait, on paper, so I'm predominantly. I mean, ratio-wise, I'm predominantly straight.
No, I'm talking about on paper the fact that beyond what really makes it on paper that you're bi would be the dating of a guy, and really giving it a try. Which is not to say in real life that you are that, because obviously you know what you are, you know what your sexuality is. But in terms of explaining that to someone who doesn't initially think like, oh, you're one of those gay guys who won't admit that they're gay, because that's what everyone wants to do. They're like, oh, he's just closeted.
Right.
So yeah, that's a complicated situation. I mean, having to explain that, which I could see, make you just want to lie a lot, and that's not good.
No, yeah,
you gotta be true to who you are.
Like usually when someone's closeted, you find a reason. Like why? Like there's some sort of, if they're super religious or if they're married or whatever. There's a reason why they're trying to deny that of themselves.
Yeah.
But I don't get that from you. So it's like there's this other. So now it's like, okay, well, where does the need to experiment, the need to try things out before you buy, sort of thing, like you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, apart from that dude that I tried to date and then didn't, like 5 years ago,
where does the drive to do that comes from? That's the key. I mean, I don't think that you need to explain that, but for me, that's like, it's the interesting thing about it.
I think I'd kind of been steeped in that UC Berkeley world. Like, this is a thing we can do. Like, everyone can do this, and on paper, he had all the check boxes of like, oh, well, that's the guy that would happen with.
Right.
And then I tried that. And I mean, he was funny. We had like great chemistry in that sense.
Yeah. He was just a really awesome friend. And you were like, let's see if we can do it.
Yeah, but I also have like weird, like here's where this gets like hippy dippy with the Berkeley thing. Like, I'm more comfortable around gay guys because I could do like, we could be watching. This sounds so fucking gay.
Yeah, go ahead.
We could be watching a movie or something, and like you're like, oh, hey, snuggling feels good,
Yeah.
I don't want to do anything else with you, Like,
see, I'd feel more comfortable doing that with Matt than I would if you were like if you're actually gay, because I know you wouldn't take it the wrong way. You wouldn't be like, let's take this to the next level. I'd be like, we can just snuggle.
We can just snuggle as friends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
but that's the difference, is that my worry isn't that he's going to want to take it to the next level. My worry is that he's going to think that you want to take it to the next level. Because like, why the fuck is some dude snuggle? You know what I mean? Like, can't hang out around him. It's weird to hang out around Eric now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's why like gay guys and women, I think I'm way more comfortable with, in that sense.
Well, because you get off on being withholding, I think. Like, you're only friends with people who want to fuck you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But did you hang out with? I mean, were your friends in high school mostly girls too?
No, man. I don't know if I've busted out before, but I wore all black in a trench coat.
Right. Yeah,
yeah.
But you say that your friends are all girls. Like it's like a, what do you call it? Not chronic, continual.
It is. It's a weird,
chronic.
Since I started having sex, and I think since like my straight sex started to really be informed by like my gay sex, I'm like, wow, I didn't even know that was a move you could do.
Oh, okay.
Like I started to get really comfortable with females and doing things with them, and then being super honest like this. Like girls are like, oh, I want the gay friend that I can fuck. Like I kind of fulfill that in a way. 'Cause I'm like,
because like you help shop and stuff.
like let's be chatty with each other about our emotions and talk about like, oh, I can say like that guy's attractive and not have it be a thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But then we can have sex.
Right. But you can do that without, you could do that either way. You don't have to have,
yeah, I don't know. But I definitely, I don't know.
You enjoy, I think you definitely, is there part of you that, because I know for me in the situation that I have a history that is purely based on me wanting to differentiate myself from other people. Like I did massive amounts of drugs literally to be cool. Like that was why I was like, I'm going to do the worst drugs to be cool. Now, I'm not saying you were trying to do anything to be cool, but I wanted to differentiate myself. Was a lot of this part
what do
of
you
like...
think now, football team? Who's the cool guy now?
Well, I mean, I feel like there is... that does make sense in a way to me, because is basically what happened with me. Was there a part of you that was like, I'm going to try this out, not to be cool, but because you're differentiating yourself from, the entire sexual population of being a very specific type of a person who was like, because it's not fair just to be like, oh, well, you're just being a prostitute. I think... If you were to sum it up, I could say that you would just be like, well, I was in college, and I was at a really, really hippie college.
Yeah.
And I decided to do some
I feel like it's
sexual...
a cop-out, but yeah, I know what you mean.
But it's sexual experimentation.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, make you bisexual. It doesn't change, your sexuality. The fact that you have had penis in your mouth, your sexuality is your sexuality.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you think part of what you were doing, were you like sucking your dick because you wanted to be sucking your dick is for freedom, for freedom from any kind of like sexual boundaries, or was it like
maybe? Yeah, I definitely I remember when there's like this David Bowie quote about being trisexual. I'm like, that's what I am. I'll try anything once.
Yeah,
but
that's the thing. The David Bowie, that's for me. I was like, Kurt Cobain is the tightest. I better shoot some heroin.
Yeah.
What do you think who was your inspiration for like wanting to do this? Or was
I grew up hardcore Christian, and I've definitely I abstained from masturbation for 9 months to the day because I thought it was a sin. Like I grew up
to what day?
To the day that I stopped. Like I stopped for 9 months straight.
Oh, okay.
To the day.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
from when you started. Not, how old were you?
No, not from when I started. Like
I was 9/11.
It was it was my sophomore year, and it was. I literally...
So you're like 16?
Yeah. So or like 15. So I I would jerk off into like old pairs of boxers. And I'm not making this up. I would go into the backyard when my parents weren't home because like I was addicted. I couldn't stop. And I would take a Yuba ban or whatever, the coffee bean can. And I would ceremoniously put my boxers in there and put lighter fluid on it and burn them so that I wouldn't have something to jerk off into.
So do you think there's any element of thinking that, well, not rebellion, but you fetishized all types of sexuality?
Yes.
So therefore anything that seems naughty,
taboo,
anything that's taboo, so the more taboo, the more you want to do it, because you've trained your brain to fetishize any type of sexuality.
Yes.
So do you think that's
I've never cheated on anyone, but I'll Google and that would be against my whole honesty thing, but I'll Google cuckolding porn and cheating and all that shit.
Yeah.
And
there's one really good one. Have you seen the one where the girl's on the phone with her boyfriend while she's having sex?
I think I have. There might be a few, but I've seen one like that.
Yeah.
But even things and I wasn't molested or anything, but things no, I wasn't.
I know, it's just funny to have.
No, but like incest things or cousin fucking, things like that. that you're clearly not supposed to
So
do.
yeah, all right, that makes sense. All right, 'cause that makes sense because like my upbringing was like my parents are like hippies. I'm an only child, but like we would get dressed in the morning and like I would be showering and my mom would be like taking a dump and my dad would be brushing his teeth. Like it was like, and I don't think like we had a pool in the backyard. And I don't think I ever saw my dad swim with clothes on. Like, and so it was always very like there was never any like sex is wrong. There was no talk of sex being like wrong or dirty or anything like that.
Right.
So, and then I've grown up and I've been a copywriter for Adult Friend Finder. I've edited porn for a living. And then through this all, like I'm still like super vanilla because I'm like, I see like weird fetish stuff and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't, no problem with it, but I don't.
And I'm not in.
That just seems unnecessarily complicated.
No, right, no. Well, I'm the same way with like I'm not into like.
Why are you putting all the stuff around the pussy?
Why are you stepping on dead animals?
Kind of bearing the lead. With the S&M bondage stuff, I'm actually not into that because I am. It's like it's over. Like we're belaboring the point.
Yeah.
But I like this, like the things that are the moral fiber of what's happening is wrong.
Yeah. You like it. You like the wrongness of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense.
That does, especially with your upbringing and
So you're like 18, and you're 18. You're still at 18. That's still pretty early. I mean, obviously you were a virgin then, and then
and
like
that,
you're still trying to discover, and so and you're really fucking horny. And you're probably like thinking of like what is, I mean, you're going for the most taboo things that you can think of.
And money was an issue. Like money was like, fuck, I need this $8 an hour isn't cutting it.
Right.
You know? And I have a class that's like, here's a variety of things you can do.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. You know,
a variety of things. Like, this class, did they encourage you to prostitute yourself?
No, but they told me to definitely not take checks. Like,
wow.
I definitely like.
Yeah.
Would you have taken checks? Would you have not known
I would
that?
not have. I would. I was
really?
Like, I would. I swear to God, I would have been like, because I asked the question. I'm like, well, it's safer, right? Because it has like their address. You know where to like.
Yeah. Cashier's check.
Yeah.
Do you have any resentments towards that class at all?
Towards the class? No, I think the class was actually awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I think there was a lot of other great things I got out of that class. But, you know, I think a bigger question, which I can't answer right now, is do I have any resentment about, you know, doing the whole Craigslist thing?
Right.
And to date, I don't. Like,
well, you don't regret it, but I mean, is there any? You don't hold any resentment for? I mean,
there's only one time I left any situation and I felt like a fucking dirty whore,
and it wasn't the three.
No, it was a kid. It was a fucking fellow student. I didn't know he was a student, but like through Craigslist with cerebral palsy that fucking stole. Basically, like had me come over and everything for free, and then like saw him like a few months later and he just like saw me and he was like laughing his fucking retarded ass off.
You know,
wow, he's like a spastic supervillain.
Oh man,
he's just planning this all
and
gotta come over.
Guys,
coming on my face.
Guys,
I win.
If you have a kid with cerebral palsy, and I'm not trying to get political, but circumcise that kid because that is hard to maintain if they're not.
That is a good point.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
Sorry, I don't want to sidetrack the discussion, but the whole like the anti-circumcision people are like, really, dude? That's your issue in life?
Yeah,
that's what
I know.
That's what you've chosen to dedicate your fucking life to.
And I see both sides of it, but it's really
funny.
Ridiculous the extent to which.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I get their theory, but the fact that he was first,
like the fact there's a movement is a little weird.
Relax.
Yeah, it's strange.
I don't have a foreskin. I've never spent 5 seconds of my life thinking, God, my stupid parents. Why did they circumcise me? What were they thinking?
And they would be like, oh, but don't you wish you had more sensitivity down there? Like, no, I have too much sensitivity.
Yeah. Like, I can't even jerk off with a sock without being like, oh, it's too much. Yeah,
gardening glove.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, it does that. Like it does reduce your chances of getting STDs significantly.
Yeah. And it's easier to clean.
Yeah.
But I could see as an argument of like, well, it got too popular. It's kind of like when Ritalin got too popular. It's like, all right, let's calm down. Doesn't help everybody.
And they say there are like a number of like horror stories of shit getting fucked up down there.
Yeah.
And I get that.
I've heard that from people that aren't circumcised too, where they're like, foreskin didn't grow as fast as the rest of their dick did, and it was just like splitting and cracking and shit.
What?
Yeah. And then they wind up with AIDS.
Yeah, immediately. That's what happens. So
I don't know.
Whore. No,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's it.
well, no.
All right. What do you guys?
We're not finished.
We are not
please.
finished. Only because we.
So what is what's the need to bring this up now? And also, I feel like when you're doing your comedy and you are sort of vehemently denying the gay thing. Not that I'm saying you're gay, but I don't get where the need to label yourself comes from.
Yeah,
it comes from, just like pretty much 90% of what I'm saying on there is really rooted in some truth. It comes from this that I'm constantly, or I'd say 50% of the time that I'm like engaged with a female, I'm being bombarded with these questions about my sexuality. So I can't really talk
That's
about.
so weird.
I can't talk about dating and being with a girl without that being like a huge component.
I find that really strange because it's not like you don't come off as like a particularly feminine or particularly gay to me in any way, any more so than anyone else in San Francisco who has black framed glasses from the army. Like I don't understand where most of the people that you're dating bombard you with questions about your sexuality. I mean, if you're,
I don't know, man.
I mean,
even straight like Kasim has asked me a million fucking times.
Yeah, but that's Kasim. I don't think that's a good.
Yeah.
And
he also, his impressions of Filipinos is paki 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 paki.
Buck. Yeah, buck.
Buck paki paki paki. So I wouldn't take anything he says about your sexuality seriously.
Charlie Ballard's like, are you gay? Are you gay? Are you gay?
Yeah, but Charlie Ballard is another one. I mean,
all right, and Casey Lai saying, I actually said for the first time on the record that I had sex with men when Casey was being interviewed here, and he just asked me, and I was unexpected, and I was like, I can't lie. I was like, yeah, but I didn't want to get into it until this episode.
But in terms of dating, I mean, I've
maybe there's a certain pheromone that you give off,
right?
When you
and that's why
dicks.
females are all comfortable around me and shit. They're like, I don't know.
But the thing about the weird thing about the girls is, I would think most girls wouldn't necessarily care. They're like, oh, if you're it seems like they would care more about whether you were into them than what your sexuality is.
I don't know if that's necessarily true. I've talked to girls about this because I find it actually kind of fascinating, where the fact that a man that you are interested in, if you find out that man has been with other men, does it make you less attracted to them? And I've talked to a lot of women who are quote unquote open-minded, and they've said, yeah, it does change.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's that thing about like the girls finding the gay guy and like, oh, I wish he was just straight. I'd totally fuck him. It's like, shut the fucking, no, you wouldn't. You don't want to be, you want to be with a guy that will beat the shit out of someone who's trying to put their dick in your mouth that you don't want. Like, you don't want to be with you don't want to, no, seriously. Like, so I think that's where it's like, I get this initial, like, I hook up with an okay number of girls, and then it immediately flips into like friendship and dating. Like, it's never, I mean, it's very rarely like a protracted,
like maybe they come
experience.
into it wanting a fag hag or a hag fag or whatever the fuck, whatever the opposite of that is.
I think they want, I think there's some mystery and allure of like, what is he? You can't tell.
Yeah.
They do that, and then they're like, okay, well, that answers that question, but I'm still like he's not man enough for me to be like my dude, but I like him, we'll be friends or whatever.
That's weird because I mean, if you were gay, you would be like on the very manly end of gay dudes, wouldn't you say? So it's like,
yeah.
I'm sure that was the appeal of like when you're doing the Craigslist thing. They weren't like, I want a really femmy bottom to come to my place.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, but again, and then I'm on maybe the more feminine side of
maybe, but not to not to a degree that I would say is in any way, at least to me, was ever noticeable. I never once questioned your sexuality, but then again, that's because I was never once thinking about you sexually.
So here's the interesting thing that like this whole thing that I'm being bombarded with from females never once happened at Berkeley. Never once when I was actually doing anything on Craigslist or like whatever. And I was dating like non-Berkeley students too.
San Francisco.
As soon as I moved to San Francisco, everyone's like the gay guy. I'm like, what?
Maybe they have that.
Sense.
You have that like 1,000-mile cock stare that they just notice. Like you're just a veteran of it, and they just can recognize that in you.
Women do have they got a sixth sense for that stuff. Like women can notice things that
dick
the dick stare. I've done that dick stare. I know that dick stare. Yeah, that I find that really strange because truthfully, I feel like when it comes to your comedy and maybe even your dating life, that can remain ambiguous without any issue. I think for a lot of like on stage, you don't have to get into, oh, well, I was in college and whatnot. You could just get into like the thing about sucking a dick is blank and blank blank, you know.
For sure.
And I feel like in real life,
I do understand the desire to not confuse the audience because it's hard.
True,
like, it is
definitely,
hard, like
definitely.
You don't want them being confused when you're trying to do a bit.
It really does fuck with them.
I need to understand so I can move on and make you laugh.
I started doing this bit recently, and I'll probably do it tomorrow, where I'm like about sex, and I'm just like talking about how I think sex is retarded and stuff. And I'm like, don't get me wrong, I love sex. Like, I'm sure I'd be fucking every one of you in the audience right now if I could. And I've always felt like that sits a little weird with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, whoa, what is that? Is he saying he's bi? You know, like
certain dudes in audiences in San Francisco. I think most dudes in San Francisco will be like, haha. But then there are certain dudes who are like, what did he just fucking say?
It's not even like a homophobic thing. People just want to understand people.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
they want to categorize you so they can wrap their brain around whatever.
You don't. No one. And this is Natasha was saying that she had a friend who was like, you need to get it out of the way, because it's not whether or not someone on any surface level cares if she's a transsexual. It's that there's a cognitive dissonance in your brain when you're like, well, wait, have you?
Because I didn't know what her story was when I first met her, but like as soon as I met her, I was like, that girl seems kind of masculine. And then when she said, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, no, it is important, definitely on stage, to not be ambiguous.
Not because I was like, oh, fuck her if she's a manly.
Right.
It's just, like you said, there's something off, and you need it to make sense.
You can't go on stage with a wheelchair and not make one comment about the fact that you're in a wheelchair.
Right.
It's that whole thing. I mean, you have to talk about it at least once. But that's not to say you can't make observations based on your experiences. And like I said, even though it's horribly reductive, saying I was young and in college and needed the money is a funny way of reducing it to something where people go, okay, all right, I could see that. And
I don't think anyone would believe that.
They may not believe it, but as long as you've got some funny shit to say about it, they could go, did you really?
Yeah, I want to hear that weird story.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Jim Norton. Like, I don't necessarily think Jim Norton is the best joke writer, but whenever he's just telling one of his weird stories, I just love the fact that he just is playing it so open. He's I'm a huge pervert, and I pay chicks to pee on me. Right. Like you just, even if you're not laughing, you're hanging on his words, like wondering where that story is going to go.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, in all honesty, I think it definitely, because I've thought about this unrelated to the escorting thing. Like, I have to keep upping my ante in a weird, in a way that I'm like, fuck, I can never get married. Like, there's not that many years worth of new things to do.
Right.
But because of that Christian thing, definitely, like anything that's like sinful, I'm like, yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, and in terms of your dating life, I find it really weird that people are questioning your sexuality after hooking up with you.
That's more rare. Once girls actually get to know me, and all my close friends, like they're all like, I think that's hilarious that people ever question your sexuality, because I'm the most fucking sexually charged, like heteronormative guy in that sense. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, then I don't think there's much of an issue. I think your life is good. You just want to let people know that you was a prostitute.
It's funny because I know a lot of girls whose sexuality has changed or shifted and gone back and forth since I met them. In college, and I don't know. Like,
doesn't change anything for me. But it's completely
one of my I met up with a girl that I was friends with in college like a couple weeks ago, and she's like, the way that she pitched it, like I think she expected me to be really surprised that she was like dating a girl now, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've heard you guys do that sometimes.
All right, yeah, I've seen that.
So would it change your feelings if she told you that she was hooking now?
Well, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I mean,
probably.
It would be like, holy shit, are things going okay with you? And if they were like, nah, as long as I make my money, boo, then I'd be like, I don't know why I changed it into, it's probably racist, but, then as long as they if it wasn't obvious they were on meth, I would be like, all right, do what you got to do.
Which there's a lot of, which you see.
Yeah,
I mean, I've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm one of the few that like legitimately was like, it's just a thing I'm trying. Like, most people are trying to support a drug habit, things like that. Yeah.
Did you meet a lot of, when you were escorting, did you meet a lot of guys that were doing meth while they were
Crystal Queens?
I don't know if
Ice Queens.
I met a lot of.
That seems like it would be annoying because you could just like fuck for an hour without coming.
I saw that on Queer as Folk, by the way.
There was a lot of closeted guys, a lot of like middle, like mid 30s
guys that need a no strings attached outlet for their
basically,
right.
taking off the wedding ring, like the
like
football,
John Travolta,
or the
right?
baseball coach,
Topical.
a lot of that.
John Travolta.
But
He did that.
That was the one thing I would like really feel weird about.
So there was
I'm fucking up a potential marriage. Like that was like a
No, I think you're saving a potential marriage, frankly.
Yeah. If we're going to talk about Frank.
So all right, so oldest guy was in his 70s.
I think so.
What about the youngest guy?
The youngest had to have been the cerebral palsy kid. That's on the pay thing. Otherwise, I would probably.
So what did the cerebral palsy guy pay you to do, or what did he not pay you to do?
So he wanted me to. First of all, he didn't fucking mention that he had cerebral palsy, and I drove out to goddamn Daly City, and I show up, and it's like,
What was his race?
Are you sure he had cerebral
Filipino.
palsy? Was he just was it just someone that lived from?
but it didn't quite come out that way.
Okay. I'm sorry. What are we doing?
Because people from Daly City might seem like that. No, I'm just kidding.
Bucky.
No, all right. So you drove out to Daly City, and then you discovered
His mom was upsters.
How long did it take
Wow.
you to start asking for money up front? That seems like a fairly.
It was like, we would. It depended. I mean, I would negotiate. Like if it was a new person, it was always a little weird. Like I was never the greatest at this either. I was nervous. Like I used a pseudonym. I think it was David. And like there's definitely times when like. They come to the door and they'd be like, "Hey, Frank," and I'd be like, "Hey, Eric," and I'm like, "Fuck," like and then like you've had this 8 email long correspondence and you have to build up this other fake backstory how Eric's not your real name.
Oh yeah, you accidentally say your real name.
Yeah. So I mean, it's sometimes I'd ask for the money up front. Sometimes they would just know it was a thing.
All right, so you showed up at the cerebral palsy guy's house and his mom is home.
His mom's home and thinking I'm just like a play friend or something.
So who opened the door?
And
The
you
mom.
were.
And what did you tell her?
I'm like, "Hey, I'm here for Alex."
Huh? And she's like, "Oh,
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, he's downstairs."
hold on, let me unlock his cage."
That's awful.
Sorry,
You're a piece of shit.
whatever.
Well, he's a horrible piece of shit. Fuck that guy.
So what happened? All right, so
So I go in and I'm like, "Oh, fuck me. Are you kidding? Like, this is what I'm dealing with." And I was an attendant, like a personal attendant for a kid with cerebral palsy who was awesome and amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm like used to dealing with that, but not like in that way, like not sucking some dude's dick or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, I had like rubbed myself chafed that day. Like I had like gotten out like 6 or 7 or some absurd number the morning of, and like I had nothing left in me.
What you're talking about?
I was
with other clients?
just jerking off myself.
Oh man, you were
Not-
really hypersexual.
Not knowing that I was gonna have a call or whatever, and then I go, and God, what was the fucking dumb movie he had on? You would really appreciate it. It's like he went like from one movie, he's like, "Oh, do you not?" He's like, "Do you not like this?" And I'm like, "It's not my." I wish I could remember what it was. Like, I'm
Are
like,
we
"It's not
there
my
yet?
favorite." And then he puts
Big
on
Mama's House?
he puts on an even shittier movie,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I was better off with the first one.
Dang.
And then he was really hard to understand.
Dang.
We're just sitting on the bed. We're sitting on the bed and he's like, I swear to God, like least suave guy I'd ever been with. He's like, "You want to yuck it?" I was like, "What?" And he like tries to like mangle like his pants down and like whatever. And
Well, he pays for sex. Are you expecting him to be suave?
no, yeah, all right, fair point. But like, I see his
And he's got cerebral palsy.
I see his dick, and I'm like, I've been like with some dudes with foreskin, but like I am not used to what I'm seeing here. And this is where I learned what the word smegma means.
Gross.
Yeah,
Gary
like-
gross.
Like I didn't know what was happening. Like white, flaky, and I was like, "Are you like fuck this?" And I had condoms.
I have a moist towelette. I'm gonna be right back.
Yeah, condoms.
I-
Wait, hold on.
I flavor condoms.
But were you protected and using protection the entire time you were doing this?
Half of the time I'd use condoms on oral, half the time I wouldn't, and I would really make a judgment call like I was doing that day. Be like, no, this is definitely, we're going to put a tarp over that.
Now,
like,
what made you feel at all safe not
because I'm super up on my like STD knowledge and stuff. I'm like,
but I mean, sometimes you can't see things, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm like, I can clear up gonorrhea of the throat. It's like not that big of a deal.
Wow, that's a lot of dedication to be
but
like
I got
willing to
way
get
less,
gonorrhea of the throat.
I got way less money than most actual gay guys doing it because they would fuck and I wouldn't.
Oh, okay. So you were trying to up your
and the idea of being a gay prostitute and using a fucking flavored condom on a guy's dick is like, what am I paying you for? Like, so I was able to get away with it because I had a pretty face. Like, that was like,
okay.
No, honestly, like they, normally like I was the only guy that they would do that with.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so I see his fucking shit, and I'm like, oh my god. Oh, and this is the worst part. Not even like the going down on him with that thing covered up. It's that he tried to give me a hand job with his fucking palsy hands after I'm chafed the goddamn shit from the morning earlier. Yeah, and he's trying to fucking start a fire down there. Yeah. It was so, I had to have it. Like, it hurt so fucking badly. But yeah, I went down on him. No skin to skin contact, but with the condom. And I was like, you just feel like you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing? And like, oh, well, at least God damn it, just can't wait to get that fucking money at the very least.
Right.
And then we go and I'm like, so, all right, like we're done, where's the money? He's like, what do you mean? Like, I don't have any money.
Wow.
Like, what are you talking about, dude? He's like, yeah, like I can't pay you. This wasn't supposed to be.
Did you consider like hitting him?
I mean, I can see. I was so fucking pissed.
I mean, like, did you hit him?
No.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Probably good you did.
I don't understand why you didn't ask to see money. At least see money when you're going in.
I was so caught off guard, honestly. Like, again, I was never good at this. Like, I was so caught off guard seeing a kid with cerebral palsy, which wasn't part of the plan in the first place.
Yeah. And
then like he has a movie on, and I honestly, a real thought that went through my head and was like entertainable for the first 10 minutes was, maybe he's paying someone to come over and sit and watch a movie with him because he doesn't have any friends. His mom let me in.
Yeah.
Like he's paying for an actual escort, like someone to be with him. So like and then that's
I wonder if his mom knew or
I don't know.
That's
I want to fucking out him. I do. He's an asshole.
Yeah. She is definitely what do you call that when you keep helping your kid have problems? Enabler. That's the one.
Come on, Matt.
I know. I forgot.
Well, if she was a real enabler, she'd have paid him.
That's a good point.
Well, where do you think he got that money from? He can't do any yard work. Like, I mean, like.
I think you get it from the government.
Oh,
yeah, disability.
Got it.
And he lives with his mom. He's not paying rent.
Yeah, rent free.
He scammed you. He scammed you.
No, I was. And
have
that's
you
the only
considered
time
beating him up now, like just like retroactively?
I've actually looked up a lot of these people, and some of them I do wonder if they're dead.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Now, okay. How many? Do you have a count? How many?
I do.
You do have a count.
My senior year of college, someone asked me how many people I'd had sex with, and it wasn't a lot. It was, I mean, it was an okay number, but I remember having to be like, do this, and I was like, I don't like that. I should just be able to say it. So I wrote it down, and at the time, it happened to be 10, and I'm glad I started that list then because it's changed.
It's changed since then. So how long you were doing this? 3 years?
I was doing it from the time I was
a freshman to a senior.
Yeah, but I got out in 2.5 years.
Okay, so
3.
Right. So what did it go up to?
Well, I don't have it separated by. You have a
spreadsheet?
So I started a spreadsheet for that thing, and I got down to every single person I've ever kissed.
Wow.
So it's not separated by the
It's not
people
separated
you
by
paid.
it's just everybody. Anything that's touched this.
Do you have an estimate of how many people paid to have sex with you?
Are you guys good at Excel? I have it.
We could do a de-diff on it.
I have it labeled by like if it starts with SW, it's sex work.
Oh yeah, I'm good at Excel. I can do that.
All right, don't delete this shit though.
I won't delete your shit.
This is years of
my whole life was in there.
All right, so is this right here? Okay,
it's a long list.
Yeah, that's a huge list. Jesus Christ! I think you knew I was good at Excel. You just wanted me to see the list. So it'll be separate.
It'll
SW.
say SW.
Okay, so we're gonna do a sort. go to data. This is also, by the way, this is a tutorial online for Excel sorting. You go to data, you click sort, and then you expand the selection. We're going to expand the selection.
Can we undo that all the...
Oh, you can never undo. That's the thing about products. And we're going to do it in ascending order by column B, which is the names of all the people you've ever done sexual things with, including kissing. And now we're going to go scroll down to all the SW. And so, right there. So we've got these right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this over to another sheet. You do Command C if you're on a Mac, Control C if you're on a PC, and then just to get it all counted up. And Control V. All right, 13.
That's going to have all of them? I definitely know names, and that's not.
Well, okay. Well, let's see. Did you?
That doesn't have Cerebral Palsy Kid in there.
Okay. You separated them all by SW, you said.
It should be.
That's all the SWs. That's how that shit works, bro.
All right.
Well, then you have an incomplete list, but that is 13. Maybe you didn't separate them all by SW. Oh, now if you want to undo, click undo a bunch. That one's pretty simple, you guys.
Free tips for all you people out there in podcast land.
Okay, can we get to that total though? Can you scroll?
I don't think it undid. Can it a double undo?
I'll show you how to undo. It's really easy.
Undo.
Now you gotta undo. Oh yeah, that's it. You undid everything. Now.
Okay.
All right. Let's get to the bottom of that list.
Yeah, I just want to see if
his name was Madrid.
No, I said his first name and that's his last name.
I'm so fucking sorry. Then again, cerebral palsy. Maybe you have him listed. You could sort by all the people you've had sex with who have cerebral palsy.
So
it's so
CP. There's an SM for smegma.
So 280. You've had some sort of sexual relations with 200.
I've kissed to a 83.
283.
282.
You've at least kissed.
Yeah.
That is
that's a huge number.
Think about all the drunken fucking and I lived in a co-op where it was like hippie makeout circle. I mean that counts all that.
Yeah, okay, but
that's
still,
like 12 right there.
It's very thorough.
Yeah, very thorough. I mean, I've made the sex list. I've done that because I wanted to feel good about myself, so I did that. But I've never made the kiss list, and that's huge.
It was something I could do at the time, and it was just like I like to know who because I keep personal connections with all these like girls and stuff, and also if I catch something, like I like to know where to go with it.
That's really thorough and obsessive. Do you think you're a sex addict?
I don't know if I believe in that. I talked to Duncan.
Believe in that?
No,
it exists.
No, I mean it's actually there's a lot of
but it exists. It for sure, and I say this because I know of sex addicts, and I know sex addicts.
Right.
Maybe I'm. You could say that I'm indoctrinated into the whole world of recovery, but for sure, sex addiction.
Yeah, I mean Duncan talked on the show about this, like Duncan, and
is he the one who told you he doesn't believe it exists?
No, he does. He calls himself a sex addict, but a lot of in terms of like society of whatever psychologists and stuff like there's a lot of people that are out on that. But if it does exist. I mean, I could certainly be a candidate.
Okay, so Chris Duncan, the last time I saw him at Milk Bar, he had like a
Burger King crown
distractingly large crotch bulge, and he was like, and he was just like playing with his belt half the time, and like it got to the point where like I thought he was gonna address the fact that he had like a fucking really like he had huge like dick. Super tight like BMX pants and just like a fucking giant crotch bulge, and I was not the only one distracted by Chris. No,
we've all.
Large
I think
I'm sure you weren't.
Bulge. Yeah. I've noticed that, and that's not the only time. Like I think that's a thing he likes to do.
He's peacocking a little bit.
Yeah,
it seemed like that.
Like I don't think that's just something that happened.
Yeah. But I mean, and Chris Duncan is an example of someone who's definitely a sex addict in that he gets all of his high feelings, his feelings of like exhilaration and happiness from women and from the conquest of women. I mean, he's only an example I've seen like in my periphery. I've never actually hung out with him long enough to say whether or not I would know whether or not he's a sex addict. But the sex addicts I have known are fucking sex addicts. I mean, serious issues with constant masturbation to the point of not being able to find work. And
joke about that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, but that is.
But the sex addict, like talking to Chris, he's talking about. I mean, there's different kind of tiers in the addiction world that they use, and like the fifth most being like pedophilia, rape, things, and like I haven't dabbled in those,
Right, and like, I'm not saying you're a pedophile or a rapist.
There's not something that you can dabble in. You have to either commit or not. I mean, you can't go halfway.
Hey,
you can't
I'm a trisexual, man.
Can't go half speed. That's how you get hurt.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah,
look at the Autobahn.
Exactly.
Less accidents on there.
Perfect example.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I also just feel like there's so much money. Like, I could find a doctor that would be like, you're a sex addict. Come see me every week for an hour because of it. Like,
no, sex. Excuse me, I'm chewing on ice. I'm an ice chewing addict. There's plenty of free. I mean, to claim that sex addiction is some sort of racket. I mean, I'd have more, an easier time believing that maybe drug addiction or anything like that is a racket because of the fact that money can be made. But in terms of okay, all therapy is a racket in that case, but there's so much free 12-step shit that people do because of their things that to call it a racket is a little bit disingenuous.
I mean, on a very
unless it's all a racket,
on a very primal level,
the whole world is a racket.
We're designed to fucking procreate, and I think that sexuality informs like most men and women's interactions with each other. To what degree they recognize that, or what degree it influences changes. But I don't think I'm any different than any other guy in that sense, but I'm also super fucking honest, so like I don't mitigate.
You really don't think you're any different? How can you not be different? You have a list of 200 and some people that you've meticulously created of everyone you've ever kissed.
I've also written down every joke I've ever told. Like, so
I think that's a little bit more easier to believe.
Like, I have no mitigating factor in terms of like what I'm going to be open and honest about. I talk about shitting on stage a whole bunch. I have massive amounts of diarrhea that I'm, like.
Yeah, but I think but putting that on the same level of the sexual stuff you might be doing yourself a disservice. I'm not saying go get help or anything like that. I just wondered if you've ever thought like, is this a problem? Have you ever thought that? I'm sorry.
I've only thought about it because, like, not to be an ass, but I've only thought about it because people will say things like that where they're like, when I told one of my ex-girlfriends how many women I'd slept with at that time, she was. That was the funniest response ever. She literally was like, "Do you think you have a problem?"
Yeah.
Which was, funny.
That's why you never tell them.
But but it's also a matter of like, in other words, I know
one thing: don't fucking ask and don't tell.
You went over.
You don't want to know, and they don't want to know.
You went over your number on your podcast.
Yeah, and my number is small compared to most people's numbers.
So I'm not that like. I feel like I'm not that far out of the norm.
No, I'm not talking about sex. I don't know much about sex addiction. I think the question I have is not whether or not what you're doing is normal or not, but do you think it's normal?
Yeah.
Or do you feel like? I
think I approach it in a very honest way where like I'm not the guy I saw today at fucking Beanbag Cafe. Like, this girl walks in, she was cute. I'm like, she's cute, she's great. Whereas the other guys were like this, and then as soon as she turned around, they're like, checking her out, and I'm like, no, I'm just the guy that's not doing that one part. Like,
okay,
yeah, you're.
But you don't feel it's. I mean, I just asked because the list was so meticulous. So I was like, man.
No, that was just a thing where when I was asked at the time, I'm like, oh, I've only recently started drinking. I've never blacked out. I could tell you, like,
okay.
I like to keep connections. Like,
you also must have a really good memory, because that's like a good memory.
Yeah, I mean, I'd only kissed like 10 people at the time or something.
And then you started it,
and I was like, oh, well, good.
And then you're like, might as well keep going.
Yeah,
it's kind of like saving money. That's how I started saving.
Right. So then it became 11, 12, 13, and then I just updated it.
All of a sudden, you've got enough money for a down payment on a car.
What kind? Got a couple of free In-N-Out gift certificates.
Yeah. So interesting. So how did it all end? What was the last one?
It was this. I could probably find the email. It was with that girl that from MySpace that became the girl that said congratulations down the road. So first date with her, I emailed the guy and canceled a call, and I never did it again.
Wow.
And I've been unemployed multiple times, and I've I don't have that.
Has it been temptation at all?
No, because it's like not something I'm interested in. I also, don't have that sober 19-year-old body.
Yeah, but really I think people would still pay a lot for what you offer.
Well, now
you
I can be
lot.
titty fucked is the difference.
You talk shit on your body. Your body's fine.
But no, I've not considered going back. And I had, I guess, what you'd call hook up with a dude since, but I wouldn't call it that. Since the guy I didn't date, where I was fucking doing blow with, I was doing blow with these two girls, and there was the gay guy, and they not to be Duncan-y, but they started going down on me, and we were making out, and then the guy wanted to go, and I was like, I don't care, you can suck if you want, while they're both but I wasn't give me some time, and then at one point they went to go get drinks, and he was on the couch trying to get, and I shoved him off. I'm like, I'm not into it, dude. Yeah. You're cool.
We're friends.
I'll share it between you and another. But I'm not gonna. Yeah.
You're going thirdsies. That's what you told him.
But and then I went home. Went home with the two girls.
Without the guy. What did the guy think of that?
They always get a little butthurt.
Did you call him afterwards and be like, listen?
No, I didn't have his number or anything. But I will say that the funny thing that doesn't help my defense in that thing is that's one of 2 times in my entire life where I couldn't get a fucking hard on. Was with the two girls.
It was the cocaine.
And I didn't realize that was. I googled the shit. I'm like, is coke ticket? And I've done blow and fuck. That was the first time that ever happened.
Yeah, you think coke and sex sounds great, but then you try it and you're like,
no, it's the original use of it is that it's a numbing agent.
Well, yeah, and it redirects the blood all these other places.
Yeah.
But
your asshole. You just got a big ass boner.
Man.
Well,
so maybe that's why I got the fissures from all the cocaine.
All the cocaine that you got.
All the blood just rushing out of it's
just
cracking
rushing out of the fissure.
Straight in the fissure.
A stream of blood.
So why does that happen?
I don't know.
Have you seen a doctor?
Yeah.
What did that mean? The doctor?
Maybe you're
fucking
sex.
They're just it's probably constipated or something. I'm like, no.
So it's
really.
caused from an internal thing, not it's not.
That's what they say.
Can you use baby wipes? Does that help?
Not really, because they kind of dry it out. I do use baby wipes though.
But what about just moisturizing on a regular basis?
I guess I could try that.
Oh, definitely try that.
The thing is, it's then you get a slimy butthole all day.
Hey, listen, do you want to fix the fissures or do you want to be a bleeding asshole?
You are in that weird place because you got the whole naring your asshole part. You need.
But wait, the hair's not back?
No, the hair's been back for a long time.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But he doesn't like the slimy butthole.
Well,
no, that's why. Yeah, he couldn't handle the slimy butthole.
Hey, I mean, you got to sacrifice things to get better for your health.
That's true. That's true.
And whether that means,
but I just feel like part of the issue is there's too much moisture there, and then you get
what, like a drip?
You get swamp butt, and but maybe that's causing some of the fissures.
That's what you're sacrificing for the healing of your fissures. Also, ointment.
I don't know if that would make it heal though. That's
okay, well, try ointment.
Okay,
go to a doctor, man.
I've tried. They don't know. They don't know.
They know.
They don't know.
You've been a proctologist?
No.
They probably know.
Is there butt replacement surgery?
There should be.
I'm sure there is. It's the future. It's 2012, you guys.
I want some 17-year-old kid who just bites it in a motorcycle accident. I want dibs on his butthole.
Oh man!
And then what's that movie? The Vision or whatever.
Yeah.
It takes over. You can't control your own sphincter.
I have these weird desires all of a sudden.
Man,
fart talking to you in your sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do now? Where do we go from here?
I don't know. I think that has yet to be seen. How frequently or publicly I talk about this, I don't know.
He's going to be unemployed for a while.
Yeah. I think you should write a memoir.
This is when it's going to become full circle, and that's the only work I'll be able to get. I'm going to have to go back.
Have you thought about writing something?
Yeah.
Writing about your experience.
The real thing is at what point in my SEO do I want my name to come up with this when prospective employers are Googling me?
I don't know. As soon as you make it a novel, then all of a sudden, or not a nonfiction novel, I think that's when people start respecting.
Yeah, but at least
people.
this requires a little bit of work for people to get through to listen. They can't just keyword search this,
That's true.
Even though it probably will be right there in the description. But
it'll be all right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to talk about it tomorrow.
Over
on stage
on the September 11th show.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man, I gotta
Write some
Gotta write
9/11
some
jokes,
9/11
right?
jokes,
Yeah. Pew.
I don't think I'm going to do any. I think I have a different subject matter I'm going to talk about.
Yeah. Seems like you got your hands full. Yeah. And your mouth full. Sorry.
But anyway, yeah. So I think that's it. And
Last question.
Yeah.
When people use the word cocksucker in a derogatory sense, do you get offended?
No, but I definitely strongly relate to the Seinfeld where Jerry's mad that Bryan Cranston, his dentist, has converted to Judaism just to tell the Jewish jokes. Like, I will throw faggot out like no other and have no issue with that whatsoever. Because I can always fall back on the cock.
People like the problem with trying to outlaw words is like the more taboo you make a word, the more it feels fucking great to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, no matter what the word is.
Yeah, it makes it just because it can actually make it funny if you use it correctly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because it's like half of, they say shock like it's derogatory, but surprise is a key element of comedy. So
What?
like when. You know what I mean?
With chalk?
Shock.
Oh.
You did do a little shock.
I thought you
shock,
said
sorry.
Chalk.
No, shock. Like
Yeah, definitely.
like people act like shock is like a cheap comedic tool, but it's just a legitimate comedic tool.
Yeah, it is.
The truth.
Surprise is hilarious.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get you guys. What do you guys have? You have a sex podcast. Are you a sex addict?
I am not.
You motherfucker.
I'm a regular old-fashioned drug addict. And you know that if you listen to the other podcast where I told all, and now there's one where you tell all. I do a sex podcast called The Mission Position on Radio Valencia with Kate Willett. And also I'm going to be at the Milk Bar on September 11th.
That's today for people listening.
Yeah, tonight. So come out and see that. I'm going to be doing jokes about how I, in college I used to be a prostitute, and I'm just going to step over your whole act.
Each one of you has 12 minutes, and by the time it gets to me,
that would be great. So.
Mine's mostly about smegma and people with cerebral palsy. This is lion's share.
What else, Matt? Do you want to
go to mattlieb.com?
All right,
that's it.
Vince.
FilmDrunk.com, Twitter at FilmDrunk. I run the FilmDrunk Fraudcast. Still going strong after all these years.
Good
It's
stuff.
a great podcast.
It is. That's you guys both have great podcasts. That's why I had you guys
You've
on.
got a great podcast.
Well, we'll see. No, thank you guys so much for coming in. I wanted, I handpicked you guys, so I appreciate you doing this.
Hey, Eric.
Yeah.
Are we good? That's what Mark Maron does.
We got it.
Are we good?
We got it.
Lock the gates!
Where's the guitar?
Wow, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Felt like.
All right.
It felt real, right?
Is it? He does that because he does it because it's like his one line in a movie ever.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what that is?
Almost
think
famous.
so, right?
Almost famous. You can YouTube it.
Oh.
Which is weird because like he got this one like memorable cameo.
I don't
and then
think
no
he-
other movie roles. It's really weird.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Sleepwalk with Me. He's in.
Open the gates!
Nice.
If this comes back to bite me in the ass, I'm blaming you guys.
We'll lick your butthole for it.
Sorry.
Do you need? Does FilmDrunk need like a merch guy? Like, can I just go around with like bumper stickers and
Yeah, I need to. Yeah, I do.
keychains? Okay.
You want to get spaghetti, you guys?
I was gonna get some
Wow, that was a no.
sausage.
Where's
Is there
spaghetti?
sausage? Whole sausage in that spaghetti?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. Well, there you have it, you guys. Cat's out of the bag. Cat's out of something. Is there a pussy joke? I don't know, man. All my deepest thanks to Matt and Vince for coming in and talking with me. That means a lot to me. And hey, if you want to hear more stories and more jokes, follow me at Eric Berry on Twitter and come to the show tonight at Milk. Free, 8 p.m., 9/11. Forgot about that. How I can't forget? You never forget. You always remember. I know I'll definitely remember this date for many reasons. All right. Thanks so much, you guys. Be well and be loved.